Welcome, pool guys and gals, to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast, where your host, Lauren Broom, will take a splash into many topics in the pool industry to educate all aquatic professionals. Listen in, and you just might be surprised what you'll learn. So let's jump right in.
Welcome, everybody, today to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. And on season 3, episode 57, I had the honor of interviewing a new company on the block called PoolTechy, and I interviewed Shane Kearney. So I hope you guys enjoy this little piece about some more technology to help us in the pool industry and see if it works for you and you guys like it. It was a great conversation, and I learned a lot. And I learn every time I talk to people on the podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy that as well, as much as I do. And let's jump right in to this podcast episode, guys, and I hope you enjoy it. Welcome, everybody, today to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. And on today's episode, I'm interviewing Shane Kearney. He's the founder and CEO of PoolTechy. Some of you might have seen him in some of the online Facebook groups and that kind of thing. So I want to welcome you today, Shane, to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Lauren. It's an honor to be here. You know, you mentioned Facebook. You and I have been following each other for a little while now, and you know, I've been watching you. And I got to say, when you reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you like to come on the show?" I immediately went to my partner and I said, "She called us. She wants us to come on the show." And my partner knew exactly who I was talking about. You know, I've been following you, and it's very clear that you really care about helping people in our community. And so, you know, it's really special to be invited here today. So thank you.
Thank you for those comments as well. The whole goal of my podcast, I don't worry about the numbers or anything like that. You know, I worry about getting information, education through the podcast out to our industry, bring new products, new things that people may not know about exist that may help them with something specific with their business or in this industry, period. So I like to do that. I love to give new people chances because there's always new ideas that come out. The entrepreneurial spirit comes out in people, and they come up with wonderful ideas that might make our lives a lot easier.
Well, I think we fall in that category.
Well, tell us a little bit about you and your background and your partner, and then tell us a little bit about PoolTechy, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts afterwards.
Yeah, thank you. So, you know, my background is in software. I've been doing software engineering for 18 years. I've been managing software teams, teaching engineers. I've worked for some big names, worked on some big projects, and came up with the idea for PoolTechy back in 2020. I had built a pool and, you know, quickly discovered how complicated it was, and also kind of, you know, realized that, you know, the industry didn't really have an app for customers. You know, I really expected to be able to find something in the app store, to be able to find a pool technician and contractor, and there wasn't anything there. There were apps for the technicians, for the contractors, but really nothing for the customer. And so, you know, I came up with the business plan, the idea, put it on paper, and then COVID happened. And then life happened.
Gave you lots of time to be able to really get that idea together, right?
So, so I sat on it for a few years, and then, you know, some other life events happened, and, you know, kind of made me available, you know, to work on this. And, you know, I couldn't believe all these years later that someone else hadn't done this yet. So I thought it was time for me to give it a shot. So, so PoolTechy, it's a new business model. I don't think it exists yet, you know, in the pool industry. It's a marketplace that is, you know, contractor, technician, and pool owner focused. So it's really about connecting these 3 different personas together, and trying to solve problems that they all have today in the industry. So, we started off with trying to build a marketplace really that was customer focused. And after doing research and looking at the other apps that were out there, we quickly realized that we we can't expect contractors and technicians to input data into two different applications. And so we had to then kind of pivot and then focus on building out features that would allow contractors to, have the same tracking capabilities that they have in the other apps that are available. So we spent a long time working on that, interviewing contractors, technicians. I myself went on ride-alongs with a technician that was actually using pen and paper. So I don't think a lot of guys are still doing it, but some are. And that's a contractor that I really want to talk to today as well. If you are a contractor that is still using a notepad, pen and paper, we have a great product for you that you can start using today for free. So PoolTechy doesn't charge to do tracking on non-billable customers. So if you have a pool business today where your customers are paying you by check, all right, and you are tracking by paper, or let's say you're tracking with another app that you're paying for, you can switch over to PoolTechy today and not pay a dime. Now, we are kind of taking a risk here. This is kind of the whole strategy for the business model is we want contractors and technicians to use our billable services. That's where we charge a fee. However, we have a lot of features that are for free that aren't available for free in any other app today. And so they are basic. We don't have every feature that the other apps have, but we wanted to create something simple that would entice the guys that are still using a binder and putting their chemical tracking and route tracking down in a binder. The technician that I went out with, the way that he would manage his routes is he would pull a piece of paper out of one binder and stick it in the other binder that was given to one of his technicians that was working on that route. That's how he would divvy up the pools. And so, we wanted to create something that was basically that basic, that was that simple. If you go and look at a lot of the other apps today, you will find lots of YouTube videos. You can spend hours watching videos, learning how to use these apps. We actually saw that as an indicator of a problem. So we don't think the app should require hours and hours of video training to learn how to use. So
other than the route part and the tracking there's lots of other things that your app, your PoolTechy is going to do as well. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, you found technicians looking for work or contractors looking for technicians. We all know that employment is a very difficult thing right now, trying to get people to even, good people to interview, or even what ways, like, do I go on Indeed and post a job, or how am I going to get these people employed?
Well, if you are a good technician and you're looking for extra work, we want you on the app. If you are a good contractor and you are hiring, we want you on the app, and we have features for you. So we actually just added a feature that basically turns PoolTechy into a job market specific to our industry. So contractors, when you set up your profile, there is an option on there, a checkbox that you can say that you're hiring. You can put an end date on there, and you will show up to technicians that register on the app that are looking for work. You will show up in the hiring tab. The way we match you with a technician is, this is kind of the catch. This is how we get you to start using the billable services, is that when you're a contractor, you have the ability to list service offers that you will sell on the marketplace. And you put in zip codes for every service offer that you want to be visible to your customers. We use those zip codes to match you with technicians that have put in the same zip codes for the zip codes that they are working at. So if you're a technician, you're looking for work, the profile that you set up basically has one question, asks you for your name, and then you put in your zip codes. We use those to match you with contractors that have service offers in those same zip
See,
codes.
that's awesome. And that part of the app right there is not something that I believe really exists, like you said. We've got route management, we've got, pool route sales, and there's an app for that. But this is not that. This is actually matching up employers that are trying to hire or need somebody. Maybe somebody's out on, medical leave, something happened, they can't cover their route. They look in their zip code area for that route and they can get somebody to kind of take that over. Many different instances of examples of things that could happen where this would be beneficial, where it's not there. We're not selling a route, or anything like that. We're trying to get employees that are in the zip code area and we're trying to get somebody to come and work. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
you
Um,
you you mentioned selling routes. What I'm hearing a lot from contractors that I'm talking to is that they have more than they can handle. A lot of these guys want to sell routes that they have, and they
Well,
can't.
and
They
that's
can't find a
kind of
buyer.
some of them it's their business model. Some of them their business model is they will build up a route to a point where there's enough in it that it's sellable, and
Yeah.
then they want to sell it. It's part of their business model. Not all companies are doing that, but some of them will build up routes on purpose in order to sell them. And they would rather not go through, somebody that's basically like in the state of Florida, you have to be a licensed real estate agent in order to sell a pool route.
Well,
And so,
here's what PoolTechy would like to,
well,
offer
what you're doing is
to
the
the
owner
industry.
can sell it themselves through directly, at that point.
Well,
And so,
actually not. What we are proposing is something completely different than what the industry has been doing. What we are proposing is that you retain your route. You keep your logo, you keep your business, all right, and you manage it from PoolTechy with your thumb. So PoolTechy allows you to scale your business and you don't have to sell it. So you are now removing yourself from doing the day-to-day work, and really managing your entire business from your thumb. That was our goal that we had in mind, was that we want this to be simple. We want it to be a thumbable marketplace, a thumbable application for contractors and technicians. And um, one of the really cool things that our application also does is we do free payroll. We don't charge extra to do payroll. So your technicians that you are subbing these routes out to, you will be able to set the commission that they get paid for it through the app per technician. So every technician that you add to your roster, you can set their commission, and PoolTechy will pay them out daily based on that commission.
okay.
So your technicians get money in their account every day. As soon as they complete a pool, we transfer money to their account.
Right. And it's simple because you don't have to worry about taxes or anything else because they're subs.
Yeah, so
So
we use Stripe.
they're W-9 employees per IRS, so they pay their own taxes at the end of the year if they make over $600.
Correct.
So,
And Stripe will send out a 1099 at the end of the year as well.
awesome.
So we have eliminated that back office work now, for contractors and technicians, and you can now handle all.
Payroll is a process, man.
Yeah, it is. It takes time. So,
It does.
there is some real value here, I think with, including that feature for no additional charge besides the platform fee.
Wow. Is there any other functionality that you want to talk about when it comes to the app that you want the listeners to hear?
Yeah. So, you know, there's, I'm seeing a lot of contractors come into the market. I see your screenshots that you are posting, from your classes, and I've talked to some that are, just starting their business, and I've heard from a few of them about some of the lead generating services. So one, I won't mention the name, but it's a big one we're all familiar with. This contractor that signed up and is registered on PoolTechy, he was telling me about his experience with one of these lead generating services where he spent $700, I think, in the course of just a couple weeks. He got 3 leads from it. None of them led to business. None of them led to revenue. So these lead generating services they're expensive and they come with risk. It's kind of a gamble, and so you are essentially taking money out of your current revenue. All right. So these lead
And
generating
hoping it's going to
services,
lead to more, and it
hoping
does.
it's going to lead to more, and it doesn't. And so that's a problem that I think a lot of folks that are trying to get into this business are facing right now. And PoolTechy wants to help with that.
How do
So
I get accounts? That's what people ask me all the time that are new coming into the industry. All right, I don't want to buy a route. Routes are expensive because they're either charged up to 10 times per, the monthly amount that they charge the customer, 10
yeah.
to 12 now, and somebody will pay it. So they don't have that kind of money. So how do I get customers?
And franchises are expensive too.
Yep. There's
You
a
know
couple
that
of new franchises out there now, and they're expensive. I know one that had locally here that I believe had bought a franchise, came from a different industry altogether, and is looking to sell already after 3 years.
Yeah, they take a percentage in royalties, as it's called, and you have to have for some of them a certain amount of net worth. Actually, like even if you can find the money to buy it, you have to prove a certain amount of net worth. So that there's a lot of barriers there in place.
Yeah.
I think for the independent technician, who's trying to start his own business, it costs a lot of money. So, I think there's a real need for something like PoolTechy, where a contractor can pay zero upfront, list their services on PoolTechy. So you're advertising to all of the pool owners that are registered on PoolTechy in your zip code for free. We don't charge you anything to list your services on there. So, what I've been telling contractors is use the pricing calculator that we have when you create a service offer that shows you what you're going to net, shows you what PoolTechy is going to take for its platform fee. And we're suggesting take half of that because half of that is the digital payment fee. So, market rate for digital payments right now is roughly about 3%. Anyone that's looked at digital payments for their business,
Yep.
knows that.
I know
So
that.
so PoolTechy charges 6%. Half of that 3% is going to Stripe. So we are covering that. Actually, we cover the upfront fee, and we're taking a risk every time a customer purchases service. We pay that fee up front. So it's baked into the 6%. You're never going to pay more than 6% on PoolTechy for anything. And you're not going to pay that fee until you get paid. Our system is actually designed in our ledger where we don't pay ourselves the platform until money is put in your account. So if you're paying PoolTechy, that's because we're bringing you new revenue.
So
So
I know you bring the pool contractors in. It sounds like you have to bring customers into this, which makes this a unique app because you're bringing the customers into the app along with the pool contractors, which most other softwares, they're doing maybe one or two things of what you guys are offering.
so
It's almost like you have a slew of different things that are being offered to the pool contractor. So how are you bringing customers into PoolTechy?
so I'm glad you asked. And I'm going to make a prediction right now on your show. Let's see how this ages. But I predict that the other pool apps are going to copy PoolTechy and they're going to switch over to our business model. So I'll say that right now. We want to create a platform that is marketable and branded also towards customers. So we want customers to use the app because there isn't anything today that a customer can go to that's in the App Store that allows them to view local contractors and compare prices and pay. So they're able to prepay, schedule service, and the way PoolTechy works is we have a credit system. So we hang on to those credits and we pay those out when the technician completes a service record. So as soon as they complete a service record, we transfer the money that was taken from the customer and we transfer it into the technician and the contractor's Stripe account.
So how are you guys bringing in customers to the app?
So right now we are really focused on getting technicians and contractors in the application at the moment.
Okay.
And so we are also advertising towards customers, but we are looking to kind of, create a, a test group. So we are still in beta. We have lots of testing in place, but we're still calling it beta because we want to get a good sample of sales and connections through the application before we remove that beta, on the logo. But we are actively, advertising to contractors, technicians, and customers. And right now, we're actually kind of doing a promotional thing where our first few contractors that come and sign up and list their services on the app, we're doing Facebook ads for them. So we are targeting the zip codes that they list their service offers in
Okay.
and trying to bring customers into the app. And we've done this for a contractor out of Tampa. So I'll give a shout out to Pool Optics out of Tampa,
Oh,
who signed up with us.
I know Jacob Green. He was
So
just in one of my classes. So, hey,
I
that's a bit nice shout out.
Yeah, I enjoyed Jacob. He's creating a lot of really cool content too, which has given me some new ideas for, ways that we can help contractors pitch themselves on PoolTechy, Jacob does a lot of video with good music and stuff. And so I took a look at that and I'm like, man, it would be kind of cool to actually allow contractors to upload a little video that they can use to pitch to customers that are checking them out. So
Yeah.
I think that'll probably end up in PoolTechy soon. So especially now that I said it here, but um, uh,
Hey,
yeah,
he's young, so he knows all the cool things they're going to bring in the younger crowd on all the social media platforms. It's
I
that I haven't really learned very well yet.
I am looking forward to helping Jacob become successful. He seems like a really nice young man, and
Yes,
I
I
appreciate
agree.
his business very much. So
But he just
uh,
got certified, so he's doing education actively in the industry as well. So
he's
he's
great.
across the board doing really good things. He's kind of new, on the social media platforms that I've seen him on, recently, but
Yeah,
he seems to be doing some really good things.
we're gonna see some cool things from Jacob, I'm sure.
Yes.
So we're really excited to help him, and we've been doing some Facebook marketing campaigns, spending some money there, trying to bring customers into the platform in his area. And so, it's new. We just launched this back in April, so it's only a couple months old. And really, I think right now, because it's a new business model that, is going after all three of these personas, pool
Yeah.
owners, contractors, and technicians, we got to get the word out there. We got to get brand awareness. And the cool thing about our marketplace, our application, is that we're going after all three of these personas. So we can do a pretty broad reach in our advertising, actually. So we're looking forward to getting the logo out there and, hoping that you guys start to see it more.
Yay. Well, any last bits you want to give our listeners before we're done today?
Well, I really just want to hone in on the zero. Well, I shouldn't say zero risk. Nothing ever comes with zero risk. But when you look at the risk of putting money into a lead generating app, and you look at the other applications that are out there today that are essentially taking money out of your current revenue, you know, I I, I hope that makes you look at the percentage that PoolTechy is taking in a, 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 a different light, because I think that percentage fee, is just really driving a lot of folks away. But, 3% of that 6% is going to digital payments. And the other 3%, you're getting in-app messaging with customers and technicians. So we create a thread per service request. So it's very organized messaging. You can get your personal text message inbox back on your phone. if you're using PoolTechy. And, we are providing a premium experience for customers today that doesn't exist. So we are suggesting that contractors take some of that percentage and put it on the customer. List your service on PoolTechy. Charge more for than what you normally charge on PoolTechy, because put that on us. Put that on us to go get the customers, get them in the platform, and start purchasing your services. And we want to help improve your bottom line. We want you to make more revenue. So we are offering a ton of features for free to get you into the app, so you can start tracking chemical usage. You can start tracking routes. You can start tracking your technicians. You can do all of that for free today. So we got to get the word out there, because it's new, it's different, might be a little scary, but we feel like there's a lot of value behind that platform fee that we are charging for those billable services. So if you go to pooltechy.com,
I was going to ask, where can
Yeah.
they find more information if they want to go to a website and look at it?
One more thing I forgot. We do offline mode. So if you're a contractor technician and you're worried about like a community that has a bad cell phone signal, our app supports offline mode. So you can spend the whole day in offline mode and then complete all of your service records once you get home and you get a good connection. There's a ton of features I'm probably forgetting here. But if you want to see a list of features, we have them on our website at pooltechy.com. We have a web version of the app, and we are in the iOS App Store, and we're in the Android Play Store. And the major difference between the mobile versions that are in the app stores and the web version is the offline mode. So you can use the web version to service pools. Customers can use the web version, but the offline mode, you're only going to get that on the mobile version that's in the app stores.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It's been wonderful just hearing. I love hearing new things in the industry and seeing what new ideas people are coming up with to make our lives easier, our jobs easier in different ways. So it's been exciting having you on today, Shane. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure finally meeting you, Lauren. Thank you so much for having us.
No problem. You have a really good day, Shane.
You too.
Thanks for diving in today with the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. Be sure to follow us on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. And feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts so more aquatic professionals like you can learn about the show. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Let's Talk About Pools podcast.